Ladies and gentlemen, we will begin with military honors. Please remain standing.
Fire! Ready? Fire! Ready? Fire! Half left, face. Present, arms.
Please accept this flag as a token of appreciation for your loved one's honorable and faithful service.
We are here to honor what great-grandpa Primm did for the United States of America, and all the things that he and great-grandma Primm did to raise their family and to enjoy their grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Sue, do you have a few comments to make?
Yes, I'm the daughter-in-law to Bill and Iris, and just wanted to let people know that would be watching the video that their grandson is making this special ceremony, that their daughter Vicky, who lives in Oregon, and their son Casey, who currently lives in Tennessee, getting ready to move to Oregon, were not able to be here, so they will get to see the ceremony via the video. Anyone else want to say something? Andy?
This is the day we lay to rest William W. Primm, my father's father. And my grandmother, Eris Primm, with honor in this lovely spot overlooking Santa Fe. It brings to mind our ceremony years ago in remembrance of Fred and Marge and Meek, my mother's parents, and my great-aunt Dot and great-uncle Pat Wood, who were the first of our extended family to come to this city. Grandpa Primm was a bomber pilot instructor in World War II and always had the keen eye and cool instinct of an aviator. In civilian life, he made a name in business and industry, and as I knew him in retirement, he accepted nothing less than golf club champion and bowling league best, as did his wife, Eris. They were very good to me, and I'm so lucky to have so many wonderful and influential memories of my grandparents. In Jackson, Michigan, Ocala, Florida, and when they visited us here in Bari La Cañada and El Dorado. I'd like to share a memory I have of Grandpa Primm. This was when my brother Jeff and I were very young, and so it was a very big deal when Grandma and Grandpa took our family to their country club for dinner. We had to dress nicely, and we had to be on our very best behavior. And I'll never forget Grandpa showing me how to very carefully take the folded napkin from the table, shake it out under the table, and place it across my lap so that my nice pants wouldn't get any spills or spots on them. I felt very grown up. The next day, we all went with Grandpa and Grandma to play a round of golf. Jeff and I were too young to play, but we would be allowed to drive the golf carts. Can you imagine our excitement? Jeff, of course, drove with maturity and sensibility, but I had other ideas. After winging a tree, nearly rolling the golf cart on a hill, we somehow survived to make it to the driveway behind the clubhouse where the carts were left after golfing. Jeff had parked his in the exact right spot, but I decided the thing to do would be to show my skills to Grandpa and Dad who were riding in my cart by accelerating to top speed and then stopping on a dime. Somehow I misjudged and came skidding over the gravel and bashing into the back bumper of the cart that Jeff was driving with Mom and Grandma in it. Whew. It left a big dent and a telltale smear of rubber from the bumper of my golf cart. Grandpa got out of my golf cart and made sure that no one was injured. And he reached into his pocket, unfolded his handkerchief, shook it out just like he told me, and wiped the rubber from the bumper. We all went on and had a wonderful day. I only can hope to be as wonderful as my family. And so we pay tribute to the honor William Primm has done our country. May the ideals of justice, freedom, and truth that he fought for prevail. I thank all my ancestors for giving me life and showing me how to live as we send them to the stars, where we all came from and where we will all return.
Great Grandpa Primm graduated in 1941 from Flint Central High School in Flint, Michigan, the same high school where he met Great Grandma Iris. They got married on February 6, 1943, exactly 1 year before Abby and Rory's grandma Sue was born, February 6, 1944. In December of 1941, the year that great-grandpa graduated, Japan and Germany declared war on the United States. By that time, Japan had even attacked the United States in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. Although both countries are our friends now, both Germany and Japan were trying to take over the world and were fighting lots of countries. This came to be known as World War II. Great-Grandpa Primm, whose name was also Bill, like mine, and his two brothers, Harold and Johnny, all joined the military to help the United States win the war. They were like their father, Abby and Rory's great-great-grandpa, John T. Primm, who had joined the U.S. Army during World War I. He fought in China in 1916 and in France in 1918. That was 100 years ago. The United States won World War I. For World War II, not only did Great-Grandpa Primm and his two brothers join the military, Great-Grandma Iris's two brothers, Ed and Charlie, did too. When Great-Grandpa Primm joined the Marines in 1942 or 43 to become a pilot and fly warplanes, he had to first get basic pilot training through the Navy. After this basic training, which was done in Mount Pleasant, Michigan and Athens, Georgia, he became a United States Marine pilot. Then he had to get more training to fly the two-engine bomber called the B-25, or as the Marines called it, the PBJ. Grandpa was the pilot, and there were several crew members. Some of the bomber training of Grandpa and his crew was done in Hawaii to practice flying missions. The PBJ bomber they flew would generally fly very close to the ground or close to the ocean, so the Japanese could not see it coming very easily. The Marines would use bombers like the PBJ to attack Japanese soldier camps, airfields, and supply ships in the Pacific Ocean between Hawaii and Japan. The Japanese had conquered a lot of those islands before they started the war with the United States. So the Marines needed to help the Navy and the Army win those islands back. Eventually, the Marines planned to join the PBJs, use the PBJs along with even bigger bombers to bomb Japan itself. Then in 1945, while Grandpa and his crew were still training to fly their bomber really well, the United States dropped two big atomic bombs on Japan that caused so much destruction, Japan surrendered. By this time, Germany had already surrendered. Because the United States had now won World War II, there was no longer any need for Grandpa and his crew to fly any actual bombing missions. After the Korean War, it ended in July 1953, when Grandpa Primm had to serve in that war as well. He would travel around Michigan to get landowners to sign leases agreeing to let his oil company drill wells on their property. That was his job. If the oil company found any oil or natural gas at the bottom of these wells, the company would make a lot of money and would sell the oil or natural gas to people to run their cars and heat their homes. Grandpa became the chief landman for Northern Michigan Exploration Company in Jackson, Michigan. He even was chosen to be the president of the Michigan Association of Petroleum Landmen. While Grandpa traveled around Michigan doing his work, and even while he was at home, Great-Grandma Iris would take care of their family. There were 3 children to take care of. There was Bill, who is now Abby's Grandpa Bill Primm. there was Bill's brother, Kim Casey Primm, or KC as he came to be known. Casey was 6 years younger than Bill. Then there was Bill's and Casey's sister, Vicky, who was 4 years younger than KC. Great-Grandma Primm, or Iris, would fix good, nutritious meals for the family. Quite delicious when the children would come in from playing outside. She would keep the house clean, wash all the clothes, make sure the children took their baths and did their homework and did well in school, and that they went to the doctor or dentist when they needed to too. She had the children help her do some of the work too. Great-Grandpa Primm would sometimes play with Bill and Casey and Vicky, even wrestle with the three of them at the same time on the living room floor. He would show them how to make paper airplanes and balsa wood airplanes. Great-Grandpa Primm knew how to ride horses, so he would take Vicky horseback riding. 2 times Great-Grandpa Primm had to save Vicky from being hurt by the horse she was riding. Maybe Vicky will tell us those stories someday. Great-Grandpa Primm liked to play a game called Risk with his grandchildren Andy and Jeff. They would beat Grandpa, but one time they gave him a coupon to win a Risk game for free. After Great-Grandma Primm and Great-Grandpa Primm and Great-Grandma Iris retired from working, they moved to Florida, where Great-Grandpa Primm was a good golfer and won the championship 4 years in a row where they lived. Great-Grandma Iris once even got a hole-in-one at their golf course. Great-Grandpa and Grandma both liked to go bowling. One time, Great-Grandpa Primm came to Santa Fe and took Andy and Jeff bowling. They thought that was a lot of fun. Finally, after living a life 84 years long, Great-Grandma's body got sick. Grandpa's body got sick and stopped working. He died in Florida. He had his ashes put in an urn and taken to the National Veterans Cemetery, where soldiers' urns are kept. So that is what we are doing today. That's what he asked to be done. Great-Grandma Iris lived longer than Great-Grandpa. Great-Grandma Iris even lived long enough to come to Santa Fe, where Abby and Rory and their mama and papa could visit her. She was glad that their grandchildren, Andy and Jeff's wife Kathy, and their great-grandchildren Abby and Rory could come and visit her. But when Great-Grandma Iris was almost 90 years old, she got sick and her body stopped working. Like Great-Grandpa Primm, she asked that her body be cremated and the ashes put in an urn also. The national cemeteries like this one allow a military man and his wife to have their urns kept together at the cemetery. So that is what will happen today. Later, our family can come back and see where the urns have been placed by the cemetery officials. Although Great-Grandma and Grandpa did not attend a church regularly, they were good people, and they lived their lives by the rules most churches think are honest and honorable. Great-Grandma Iris kept a prayer on her refrigerator door when she lived in Florida. She liked it. It is called the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Great-Grandpa Primm liked the Marines song. It's called the Marines Hymn. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. We fight our country's battles on the land, in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We're proud to claim the title of United States Marines. Here's health to you and to our Corps, which we are proud to serve. In many a strife we fought for life and never lost our nerve. If the Army and the Navy ever looked on heaven's scenes, they would find the streets are guarded by United States Marines.